What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. On the Warriors front, they were up 6 when Draymond Green punched Jusuf Nurkic in the face. And my wife and I talk about this all the time. Life has a tendency to throw curveballs at you, right? Like a unexpected expense, a medical issue, some sort of family drama, some sort of friends drama, whatever it might be. There's all this stuff that can be thrown your way that's out of your control. And so don't make the problem worse by inflicting self-inflicted wounds, right? So my wife and I have this a talk that we have every once in a while. It's you don't text when you drive. You Uber instead of driving when you've had a few drinks. You do all these basic discipline things to prevent self-inflicted wounds, so that you just deal with the curveballs that life throws you instead of having to deal with that plus all of this self-inflicted damage, right? And that's the thing that's tough with this Draymond situation is it's you've had so much stuff that's out of your control that's gone poorly for you guys this year. Guess what? Suns are another above 500 team that the Warriors had to play. Did you guys know that the Warriors have played 3 games all season? 3 games against teams that are below 500? They've been given a hellacious schedule to start the year. As a point of reference, the Suns have played 14 such games against below 500 teams. So you've had a rough schedule. There have been injuries. Andrew Wiggins is still completely, he was awful again tonight. He's completely checked out right now. You've had Kevon Looney's really struggling. All of these things that have been working against you. You drop a couple games because Steph's knee, it flares up a few weeks back. All of these things that are working against you that are out of your control. There's literally nothing you can do about it as a franchise. You just got to hope Andrew gets it together, right? You got to hope you stay healthy. You got to hope that, when the schedule lightens up, you can rack up some wins and regain some ground in the standings. And here's the thing, Draymond, it was like a post-up battle. It looked like Nurkic's right hand was on your hip a little bit, but that's typical post-contact that you're going to see down there. And he just spazzed out and punched him in the head. What are you doing? You were up 6 or up 5. I think it was 65-60 when that happened. And you effectively took, now all of a sudden it's early fourth quarter and there's Trace Jackson Davis out there on the floor by himself getting posted up by Jusuf Nurkic, getting buried under the basket for and ones. And it's this just shouldn't be the case. This shouldn't be happening. That is a self-inflicted wound. And here's the thing with Draymond that's frustrating is he's shooting the ball so well this season, and he still is. I mean, there's issues with the Warriors starting lineup, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I still think the best version of this Warriors team includes Draymond Green and the way he's playing on that front line. But you got to stay on the floor. This team is desperate to get some continuity and to put some good basketball together. And it's very possible that we wake up tomorrow and Draymond faces another suspension. And so I thought it was clear cut. He wasn't he wasn't targeted by the officials in this one. He wound up and punched the guy in the face. And now he's going to potentially take himself away from the team for a little while. It's a self-inflicted wound for a team that can't afford a self-inflicted wound right now. And honestly, you guys know how much I am a fan of Draymond Green. I'm a huge fan. I'm such a huge believer in everything he does to help this team win basketball games. Just a flat-out winner, a dude you want to have in the trenches with you in a real battle. And this season, he's doing too much, and it's hurting the team. And he's got to get it together because this whole dynasty is teetering on blow it up or invest in it and move forward. And when it's teetering, when he does stuff like that, it pushes weight on the other direction. And that's not what this team needs right now. The starting lineup, it's super interesting to see the difference between last year and this year. If you guys remember last year, the starting lineup was one of the best lineups in basketball. And one of the big things that you saw was as the bench was struggling, Kerr was trying to tweak and stagger the starting lineup differently to try to anchor those bench lineups better to give them a better chance of succeeding. It's been an entirely different deal this year. Like, the Warriors have a positive point differential with Steph Curry off the floor, which is amazing. And it comes down to Chris Paul orchestrating those units, getting key defensive contributions from guys like Moses Moody, like Brandon Podziemski has been like a revelation. He's awesome. Like, that's a huge silver lining, is like you've got a great bench and you found like a bona fide rotation player in Podziemski in that group. So it's like there's lots to be encouraged about, but that starting lineup's not working anymore. And what we're seeing here is like when Wiggins is at the level he was at in 2022 and Klay Thompson is at the level he was at in the 2022 playoffs and Steph Curry's at that level, when all three of those guys are at that level, then the Draymond Looney thing works because there's just so much offensive skill around there. But as you're seeing, as Klay Thompson has kind of tailed off a little bit, as Andrew Wiggins has tailed off a little bit over the course of last year and this year, it's put it to the point now where like the total amount of offensive skill on the floor just isn't enough. And now the Draymond Looney thing is becoming a problem. And what they're doing, again, like we saw the Lakers do, the book is out. You ignore Draymond and Looney. You top lock as best as you can to avoid them using the screens. But if you are in a lock and trail position, you just have to run like hell around these screens and funnel them into your interior where the guys who are ignoring Draymond Green and Kevon Looney are waiting. And so again, I think we did see in closing time here by going with Podziemski instead, by going with Kuminga instead, like you're seeing Steve Kerr start to kind of identify these things. But at the end of the day, like that, one of the key kind of talking points from this particular show that we're going to talk about is stubbornness in coaching and the willingness to make adjustments. And like, I think it's important to identify that lineup's not working anymore. Didn't work in the playoffs last year, right? You're probably going to have to go away from it again in the playoffs anyway, even if the lineup was playing well. It's time to start experimenting with that starting lineup and try to make something different happen.